background. It looks like it's a black mountain with a side area of a lighter color. So I've tried to commit that to memory, and I'm going to close my eyes for a moment and picture it, try to see it in my mind. I see it in my mind. I see that flag with the cross. It's blowing in the wind. The wind's blowing as the guy plays the trumpet. Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo. And the sun's opening out and shining. It's getting lighter. It's getting warmer. There's a really good feeling in the air. The flowers opening up, blossoming. I feel like something on the mountain is like it's melting. And it's like springtime. It's a new beginning somehow. Out with the old and in with the new. It'd be kind of like whatever darkness or doubts or what have you had been before. Now it's a new time. And I see the person playing the horn and now is making a proclamation, and he's saying, from this day forward, we do declare that there are new rules apply. And the flowers open up and they're singing. I see them singing a little song about they're really happy to be out, and it's a whole new world that they're in. And they're tired of being in the seeds, and now they're out into the light, and they're really happy about that. And the sun's saying it's glad to not be on the other side of the planet, and glad that it's being able to participate in the morning, and the clouds are becoming transparent and allowing the sunshine to flow in. I hear church bells ringing, and people are coming out of their houses and dancing, and there's a great celebration. And it's almost kind of like the millennium or something like that, where it's just totally a new day. Okay, so that was a little fantasy that I had about what was going on in the card in terms of a little cartoon or something. And that is just to give me more personal relationship with the card. Now, I will read about it. Let's see here. Where is it? Number 20, Judgment. A herald sounds a trumpet to the breaking day. A cross which seems to grow out of the darkness on a distant mountain is displayed from the banner which hangs from his trumpet. At his feet flowers grow. In the distance the sun rises above white clouds. So they're mentioning pretty much the details that I saw. The meaning, judgment. Judgment is the final personal experience and the beginning of the non-personal experience that follows the inevitable obliteration of the self. So some kind of a change in one's self-concept or something. In a limited sense, the movement of judgment is the same as the moment of awareness, shown in the card number 17, the star. How judgment has the added interpretation of being an unavoidable certainty which must come to all men sooner or later. The tarot, by its structured symbolism, gives the seeker a preview of this inevitability, and by reminding him of the impending doom of his personal self, encourages him to seek understanding of the cosmic self, the infinite nature of all things. And it is something like you could call it the cosmic self, that I wouldn't have used those terms when I was a kid, but something about awareness of a cosmic self that was touched as that girl comes forward and announces, that I was the one that was chosen. Through an understanding of the symbolism of this card, the seeker can begin to be aware of the dawning of a new day, which comes to him who casts off the burden of ego and moves closer to the comprehension of his infinite nature. And that's certainly what I was doing at that particular moment. So you can see how the memory touches in to the card. I made this connection, and I did this memory divination through the intuitive heart discovery process, and made the connection with the card that personalizes it for me. It's a touchstone. I can remember what that felt like, and somehow that feeling, I accept that the synchronicity is meaningful, that the feeling that I had back then relates to the feeling being described or pointing to in the card Judgment, especially the theme about a new day, put away the old self, come on with the new self, and somehow for me saying, hey, you know, this little person who's maybe doubtful or whatever needs to go away because, look, you were tuned in, you could make this kind of a connection. Now, if you want and you have a reference book, you can look up even more information about it. And I will look up in this book, there's, 10 or 15, 20 pages about each of the major cards. It's much more in-depth than the books that usually accompany the deck of cards that you buy. And let's see here. Or is it Judgment? I can't read it all because it's way too long. Judgment of Vocation. Here's a quote. Lo, I will tell you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised imperishable, and we shall be changed. For this perishable nature must put on the imperishable, and this mortal nature must put on immortality. So she's using a different deck, the Marseille deck, and you can see that there, the card. It's different. It's like an angel coming down out of the sky that's playing the trumpet, and the three people down there on the in the bathtub or something are receiving this trumpet call. And it shows that the card decks can vary in the detail, but the general interpretation was very similar. Spiritual resurrection is a term that she uses, and sound as and remember I was talking about hearing the bells ringing and so on. It's some kind of an announcement. Vitality, a new vitality comes in. And we could go on reading about it, and as I'm reading the material, I can be thinking about the memory divination that they did, and also the little cartoon that came to my mind, the celebration, the new day, and so on. And I have this personal background to guide me as I study the reference material. And whenever the Judgment card comes up in a reading, as I get into doing layouts and doing readings, I'll remember, of course, about this little experience that I have, and it gives me a basis for interpreting the tarot cards without having to look into the reference books and read it. So it gives me a leg up, and it also starts showing, you see, the role of intuition, because I was being very intuitive there in my connecting with that Judgment card. Intuition is something where we feel around the corner, feel into the dark, and we somehow try to then understand what's around the corner, and it's reminding us of something. It brings up some understanding, it brings up some awareness, and we are intuitive about it. And so calling upon a memory just makes that very explicit. And what we do in a divination is we're trying to understand the nature of things. We can't see them, so we pull out something that we can see, like a card, and we interpret the card to understand that hidden thing. So it's very similar, you see. I'm being intuitive, I'm doing a divination. The intuitive heart discovery method, you can look at it as an act of intuition, or you can look at it as an act of divination. And I think that it's important that you see that kind of a connection, because it starts opening your mind to how all these things tie in and relate. So what I'd suggest that you do then, you see, is you get out at least the major cards, the 22 cards. You might want to do it with all of them, but a few times a week, but not more than once a day. Draw a card out. Don't look at it. Just lay it there. Make the intuitive heart connection with it. That is, go into the state